expect to be there tomorrow. We've got all these 10 hours there. And so we're hoping to meet them sometime this early afternoon over that's what you guys are. No, just the original teams that has its space.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7 p.m., so the chair will call this meeting of the Rusk County Board of Supervisors to order. And the first order of business will be roll call, so if you'd mark yourselves present on there. We have 18 present, so we do have quorum to conduct the business at hand. The next item will be the invocation, which will be by Jonathan Underwood. And the pledge of allegiance will be led by Rusk.
Heavenly Father, we come before you and ask you for your wisdom, your guidance in the meeting tonight, and your hand upon us. You have upon this county, your blessing upon this county. You also lift up the family of Alan Rastack, Lord, that you bring comfort to them as they're dealing with the loss and dealing with the loss of a colleague and a friend. We pray just your blessing upon them as well. In Jesus' name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, if we could have a moment of silence for a former county board chairman, Alan Rastack, who sadly passed away. Thank you. And at this time, Ashley has a few words that she would like to present. If you would, Ashley.
Thank you. We'd like to take this time to recognize the contributions of Alan Rastack to Rusk County over the last several decades. Alan first served on the county board in 1992 until 2000. He again served from 2016 until December 7th of 2023. Alan fought a hard battle with cancer and passed away on December 14th. He was a valued member of the Rusk County family, and he will be dearly missed.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of the November 14th meeting. Motion to approve. Motion by Mike Raven and second by Tom Kudo. And you can vote at the present time. Our vote is unanimous, so the minutes are approved. Next item up is the election. Public comment, I'm sorry. So, are there anyone that wishes public comment? Yes, ma'am.
name is Sue Moore, and I'm a resident of Ladysmith here. I currently serve as chair of the Rusk County Tourism Committee, and I have served on the city council before, just to give you a little background. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on a subject before you or in conjunction with an item on the agenda. Item number 4, regarding new ownership or leasing of the old clinic building. Regardless of what new use this building might have, such as a small business incubator or manufacturing property, educational or other possibilities, I would like to strongly suggest that you save the chapel, which is adjacent to it. Some folks in our country like to tear down our past, such as those who have and advocate removing statues and monuments. But this only takes away our ability to reflect and learn from our past. Some of us work very hard to preserve some of our history and honor those things which give us pause for gratitude in the great things done in our community. The chapel is one of those things some of us would like to save and possibly make a memorial to those in our past who contributed so much in the healing of those in need. If all else is destroyed, so be it, but this unique and sturdy structure should remain. What about honoring all the prayerful work that went on for patients and family in that chapel over the past 60 years? That alone would make it worthwhile to save and memorialize. And it would also save the county some money in the process of demolition. Since I chair the Rusk County Tourism Committee, and just today I was notified that the Governor's Conference on Tourism theme in 2024 at Lake Geneva will be the art of tourism. Who knows? Maybe our community might be able to show how we saved a beautiful building full of magical stained glass windows and offer it as a venue for funerals, weddings, art showings, and musical events for the public. We could be a part of the state's 50th anniversary art celebration. And some would say, but don't tell me that the contract cannot be changed. Since I served on the city council, I know that there are many times change orders happen all the time, and emergency meetings can be set up to request this. I sincerely ask you to consider doing what you can to save the chapel. Thank you for your time and thoughtfulness in this regard.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm John River, and I have kind of some of the same sentiment as Sue had shared. I kind of been listening to all the conversations regarding the old hospital, and I was involved with different groups and had some discussions with some of your board members, and you know, as of a week ago, I just assumed it was all everything was a total foregone conclusion, and I got a call from someone from the Catholic Church, well, Craig Holker, and said, you know, we got permission from the PAWS to take out some of the stained glass, and it's just way beyond. So anyway, to make a long story short, I was asked, and we used my insurance, business liability, workman's comp, and went down there, and definitely 11th hour situation where we were pulling down stained glass that was, you know, as the excavators were working all the way around us. And I do have to you know, I'm really happy with Haas, because they were very accommodating, and, they, let us in there, and, we have a little heated building in there, and it was a meticulous job to take the stained glass, and as of tonight, we got all of it out of there except 2 pieces, which we're going to in the morning, but, as we were going up there, we had the scaffolding up there 20, 30 feet, and we poured over the walls of that building, and you know, the building is a standalone building, and it is very artfully done and structurally sound, and to make a surgical cut around that building wouldn't be the end of the world. You could save that building, it could be a little opera house, and I think it'd be a positive. You know, it might be $1 million to rebuild a building like that, and it's in almost immaculate shape, and I think it could be saved. I know there's been offers in the past for the property, but I would think it'd be a positive piece of building that might be an asset to the property rather than to destroy it. So that's about all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Aaron Webster from Bruce. The only topic I wanna talk on is the first closed item session that is regarding the stipend for the hospital. I've seen this on the agenda so many times in the last couple months. And since you all know that I go to a lot of committees, I've seen it discussed in a lot of meetings, lots of closed sessions. This is a waste of our time, and it's a waste of our money. And we're talking about $6,200. Get back to the business of the people of this county, approve the stipend. I believe that it is necessary and it is worthy. And beyond that, you are wasting our time and our money by not doing the business that has been before the committees and this full board multiple times. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Apparently not. So at this time, we'll close public comment. Next up will be the election. That's in different circumstances today, so Chair will turn the election process over to Court Counsel for some things.
So this is the unique circumstance with Mr. Rasak passing away. Randy Tater, as the vice chair, became the, I guess, acting chair until this meeting of the board. At this meeting of the board now is our time to elect the chairman, and depending on the outcome of that election, the vice chairman if it's needed. So at this time, unless there's questions, I'll take nominations for the board chair. Mr. Kudo.
Thank you.
Yes.
I proudly and, I can't talk. I nominate John Caleb for the position of county board chairman.
Any other nominations?
I would nominate Randy Tater.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations and we'll issue ballots. And this is not public, but initial the bottom of each ballot so we know that everybody only votes once, please.
The point of order. I was unaware that you needed to initial your ballot when it's the ballot for the chair and vice chair are not.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Are not
correct.
subject to.
You're correct. You do not need to issue a ballot. That's for other. The vote is John Caleb 11, Randy Tater 7. So congratulations, Mr. Caleb, on becoming the new chair. So I assume you'll continue to act as vice chair, Randy? You'll continue to act as vice chair? Correct?
I will.
Okay. So then there's no need for the vice chairman, as Randy will continue to act in that spot. And then-
We gotta switch some stuff around here, so. Randy, how did you log Randy in there? We're gonna log this one out, so just him.
Oh, and I should have said this before this election. So this election is only for the next 3 months. The election period is up in April, and then the election for the chair and the vice chair again will occur at the April reorganizational meeting.
This just fulfills the term that was elected for Al Rusk.
That is correct.
This one's gotta be logged out, yeah.
Congratulations, John.
you're on to the Rusk County Transit Commission. You're on the Rusk County Transit Commission report. Annual update. You should be able to get that.
Next item, presentation, the Rusk County Transit Commission annual update, Jeremy Jacobs.
Good evening, everyone. Jeremy Jacobs, Rusk County Human Services Director, but tonight I'm representing the Rusk County Transit Commission on their behalf. I believe what happened is I missed a couple meetings at the transit, and I would have been designated for the annual report. But we're doing this both to the city and the county because there's rooting interest from both parties. So, the Rusk County Transit Commission was established in 2014 as the commission, but there's a lineage back on their website that goes back to 1972 that shows the Rusk County Transit Commission as it has grown over the years and morphed into two different things. So I encourage people to check out the Rusk County Transit website. Good information there. Currently now, the transit is running as Dial-A-Ride. You'll see the information that's in front of you. It's kind of a catchy, kind of a hashtag type of thing that offers that opportunity under the Rusk County Transit Commission name. So, a couple things relatively quick, things that are in front of you. I'll just talk about it and touch on it here quick for you. In mid to late summer of 2023, Senator Corey Tomzak came to a town hall meeting at the senior center. It was put together by some of the staff in the ADRC and some community members. And that town hall meeting talked about all kinds of needs that our community has. One of those things was transportation. And so as we were listening in that room, we were talking about and listening how vital the transit is to our Rusk County Four Corners, city and county. Mr. William and myself were sitting next to each other, and people in the room kept referencing Indian Head Transit Service and the ITS bus and all those kinds of things. We kind of looked at each other and were like, hey, we got some work to do, because it hasn't been the ITS bus for a fair amount of time. But it doesn't matter what the name is that it's accessible to people, and we wanna make sure that they have opportunity to use the service. So we made that commitment at the point in time to say, hey, we need to give an annual report, we need to continue with the community awareness and the public speaking opportunities to really promote what the transit does. So the current commission members are Pete Boss is a community member, Al Rabin is a member from the city, myself representing Rusk County Health and Human Services, Chris Newkirk from Indian Head Transit, see what I mean? Indian Head Community Action Agency, Gordy Peterson, who recently resigned, Mr. Hoover will be, I believe, appointed as a City of Ladysmith representative, Jennifer Shearer from Indian Head, Mr. Tater from the county, and Mr. Willingham as well from the county. Give a couple shout outs to some people that are a part of that transit that make it go. Cheryl Kisling is the transit manager, Mike Raven is the travel trainer, and Shanda Ladwig is the mobility manager. And that just touches on some of the more than 25 folks that are on the payroll as a part of the transit program. A special shout out to Tanya Sweeney and Jamie Wilk as to what they have done with the streamlining of the finances through the transit, the payroll system, the consistent accounting practices, and all of those types of things that have been improved to really maximize the dollars that are available through that system. So from a finance standpoint, there's really three grants that come through the Department of Transportation. There's the 5311, which is the federal formula grant program for rural areas, and the 8520, which is the state mass transit operating assistance program. Those are both funding sources for the buses that you see out and about that are varying size and varying operation. The 8521 is the County Elderly and Disabled Transportation Assistance. That's generally the volunteer driver program and the capital grants for purchasing and maintaining the fleet that is utilized in the operation. Bringing all of those in-house to one process is just shy of $1 million in DOT granting.
The city and the county contribute to the operation. The county contributes $18,500 and the city contributes $13,178. And so we both have a rooting interest in this, obviously for the program. The volunteer driver program, there's a state allocated about $80,000 worth of granting there. The Rusk County provides the county provides the local match, 20%, which is about $16,000. The passenger revenue, and this is a big thing, is there's about almost $300,000 worth of passenger revenue in the volunteer driver program, and that consists of the managed care organizations and then obviously riders that are usually using that volunteer driver program. So the handout that I have in front of you really just summarizes the numbers. I'm not gonna go through that. You can take that with you. You can share that with anybody. But you can see the amount of the passenger count, the miles, the new riders. I think the underestimated portion of the transit program is that this is a lifeline for a lot of folks to not only get the medical appointments, but it's also the opportunity for folks to just go and get their groceries. And so, and everything in between. So it's a very good program. It's a very good opportunity for folks to have some mobility around our county. Like I said, you can see the breakdowns. Some of the kind of the things that really hit home from our department, as well as other things, is Rusk County Transit Commission really partners with both Barron County and Rusk County veterans to get them to medical appointments. And so that is again kind of a lifeline when you're a veteran and you're getting out to or needing to get out to medical appointments that might be specific at a medical facility. That is a very worthwhile process there. The transit also extends into Chippewa County a little bit to offer service to folks that are in the Holcomb area that are able to get into the Ladysmith for the same kinds of things, medical, groceries, some of those other kinds of things. So it's extending into other parts of our region. A few miscellaneous things. Again, if you go out to the Rusk County Transit online portal, you'll see a whole bunch of information on there, some great stuff. There's a 10-stop city bus route that goes around our city. This is great. And this is, if you go to the big city sometime and you see bus routes and all that kind of stuff, we have that. We have the opportunity for folks to get on a bus route Monday through Friday, from 6 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, and then also on Saturdays from 8 in the morning until 3:30. So that's a very good service. There's also the door-to-door service, and as I grew up in the human services world, as transit and Indian Head Transit were occurring, you could call and say, hey, I'd like to go XYZ, and they come pick you up and they take you over there, and you call back and they take you back home. And so that is still available, and they really do like to see 24-hour notice. That runs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And it corresponds Sunday with the 8 to noon with a bus route that'll get you to church if you're interested, and also view the opportunity to get you around town for any other services as well. The cost is if you're 60 plus, it's 75 cents one way, $1.50 round trip. And if you don't fall in that category, or you're not a rider 13 years of age till an adult, it's $1.50 one way, and it's $3 round trip. And so those things also correspond with a bus pass that can be $30 if you're 60 plus and $40 if you are not 60 plus. The packet handout that I gave you has some good information in it. Primarily what happens is if you're a new rider, Mike Raven, somebody else might come out and see you, and they're gonna do an assessment. They're gonna do a strategic assessment of, do you have a wheelchair, do you have a walker, is it compatible with the buses? Is it something that makes sure that we can transport you safely? And so those are things that are given then in the little packet with the cane koozie, and who doesn't need more cane koozies, right? Enough of those. And some other information in there that talks about the bus routes and the times and how to call and get things set up. And so it's a real strategic approach to making sure that folks are aware of not only what the services are, but they're also safe when they're transported. So if you have any questions, that's kind of my quick snapshot. I think what we will be doing going down the road is probably give you a little more of a fiscal update as I hopefully come here next year to address you, is have a little more of a fiscal update as to the operation, and, just so you know where your dollars are going when you're allocating those funds. Are there any questions? Rich said I had to keep it to like 6 or 5 minutes, or 3, I think 3 he said was what the optimal number was, but that's what I've got. If you have any questions, you can ask myself, you can ask Mr. Willingham, you can ask Mr. Tater, city folks, and all that kind of stuff. You can feel free to reach out to any of us, or check out to the transit and see them. They're out in the Enterprise Center out there in the industrial park. So, any questions? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Jeremy. Discussion, possible motion. New ownership of Marshfield Clinic building and decide on the disposition use of it, including lease rate for clinic building and parking lots. Motion.
Nope, no motion yet. So, as anticipated, the county acquired ownership of the Marshfield Clinic building on Thursday. We've talked about this the previous 2 months, probably longer than that, and this is back on the agenda to determine what the county wants to do with this, either short-term, long-term, or anywhere in between. Since Thursday, there's been 2 inquiries regarding the building that came to Ashley, so I'll let her talk about that and then we'll proceed.
Okay, so I was contacted last Thursday by Michael's Pipeline. They are interested in the temporary use of the clinic building and the parking lots to the north, so the ones between the current clinic and Parmenter Road. He would like some office space and a conference area. So I did a FaceTime with him on Monday, walked him through the space. He did believe that it would work. He also is requesting the reception area. If you can picture the old clinic in your mind, I'll also pull up a map here. It might be a little bit hard to see. But the space we're talking about is here. So when you walk through the automatic doors, it was right off to the right here, kind of a little check-in-y reception area. There are 2 bathrooms here, a men's and a women's, and then there's office, like individual offices here, and then some shared cube offices back here. He believes that that will fit their needs. He also requested a larger conference area because of the need for very long tables. So I walked him through the reception area. Again, if you'll remember that, if you look up, there's like the skylight, and he requests that that be part of the lease as well. In addition, he would like exclusive use of both of those parking lots for pipes and pole storage while they're working on a project here in Rusk County. After some negotiating, we came to terms of $2,500 a month. They would cover all utilities, and it would be a month-to-month lease through June.
Month to month, meaning that any party could terminate that provided you gave a 30-day notice. So it's very temporary.
And one other kind of caveat is that the them signing a lease with us is contingent on them signing a contract for the work that they are trying to get going here in the county. He would anticipate that as soon as that contract is signed, they would need the space, so it's likely that they would move in January if we were to go this route.
You can see that.
Okay, so that was the first interest, was again Michael's Pipeline. The second is from Mr. Bill Rands, who is here today, and he expressed interest in purchasing the clinic building. He has offered $1 million for the clinic. He would also like to discuss with the board the possibility of preserving the chapel. He is also willing to rent the clinic building at a favorable rate to the county if we were to need that space for temporary office use, if we we were going to proceed with the new jail. There are no contingencies except for a walk-through inspection. So those were the two offers here that we received in the last, less than a week.
Does the second offer include the parking lots too?
That was not discussed. So that would be something that we would have to work through.
And not the parking lot to the north across the street, but I would assume it'd be the parking lot in front of the building.
So that's on a different parcel right now. So. No. Rick, email it to me and I'll put it in the
Mr. Kudo, any question?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wondering, in regards to the Michael's proposal, that 2,500 is, so that's not only including all the office space, but all the parking? So they'll monopolize both lots then?
For 5 months or 4 months or 6 months, yes. So, and I don't know that any decisions are gonna be made. If you are going to sell it, I mean, you guys might wanna refer this back to the committee. Again, you guys have been talking about what we're gonna do with this now that you own it.
It'd be nice to see the parcels that Mr. Vance is interested in, or that purchase price.
It would be the clinic.
Just the clinic?
Well, the assumption would be that some kind of parking would go along with that, but right now, there's really no parking on the clinic parcel. So we own the lot to the east and we own the lots to the north.
Well, I still think we need to have some clarity as to just exactly what Mr. Vance is thinking of for,
There you go.
you know, what he may include around the building.
Are you motioning or what are you doing? Did we take the motion off?
Yeah.
Bill Undershoots. You got a question?
I was wondering, it looked like Mr. Rance had his hand raised there. Is he allowed to speak on the offer?
Yeah. I think we should let him.
Did you have something you wanted to say there? It looked like you had your hand raised.
Yeah, sure, 2 things. One is on the Michaels bid for the parking lot, I'd be concerned, if you're on the board, I'd be concerned that they're gonna have heavy equipment, pipes and things. Your blacktop might take some real damage, so you might wanna just figure out a way to ensure that whatever blacktop is there, unless it's, maybe the blacktop's no good, I don't know.
Bill, can I respect you? Can somebody hand Bill a microphone? He's really hard to hear up here.
There you go.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Sorry. So, concerning the Michaels bid, I'd be concerned about the blacktop. If they're putting pipe down and they're gonna be storing stuff, you know, just in your interest, if the blacktop's no good, then it doesn't matter. But if you wanna preserve the blacktop for whoever else is gonna own it, or you have plans for it, that'd just be a thought. In our offer, I just assumed that the property would include all the property on the south side of the road leading in. So whatever that acreage is, including the chapel, so. And you know, I haven't seen the platted map, so I don't know exactly.
So, therein lies part of the problem, and I guess I'll say this for everybody. If this proceeds with Rands, I have a conflict as an attorney representing the county and, Mr. Rands in the past, so, again, this is preliminary. I don't think any decisions could be made today as to actually sell it. It should be properly noticed, but I'll say that out there, and then you guys will have to seek separate counsel. So, if you can see that, so where my cursor is, right there, okay, this rectangle here is what we just acquired from Marshfield. Okay? All of the other, then this parcel here to the north, this is the one where, Michaels would store their stuff, and I don't think there's any blacktop there. Yeah.
Well, part of that's blacktop, Rich.
Is it? Okay.
Yep. Toward where the cars are,
Right here.
you can kinda see the cars in there, toward the southern edge of it, if I remember correctly, is asphalt.
So,
How does that lot go?
which lot?
The one you were just
Oh,
on.
that one goes all the way up to Port Arthur.
Oh, so that's all gravel and stuff out there.
Right.
Yeah.
You talking clear to the river?
Yes.
So basically the hospital and the clinic.
The whole area all the way to the river.
Phil Undershoot's got another question.
Yeah, so I was gonna just make the comment that it might be to our advantage to at least ask Mr. Rance to come up with an official offer to purchase. And I don't think the county wants to be in the landlording business. I think we wanna, if we don't sell it to him, we need to sell it to somebody. I guess that would be my, since the discussion is kind of what our future plans are with that, I think it would be more to our advantage to, ask what an offer be brought forth on that, because I don't think we wanna hold on to property or be in the landlord business. Thank you.
Maybe we'll throw it back. So again, I don't know if the county board wants to make this decision well, I don't think they can make a decision today. I mean, one decision would be put a for sale sign in the yard, see what offers you get, okay? Two, refer this back to, the property committee to deal with these issues, and then you're putting it on that committee. Or, I mean, do nothing. Again, you own it, you're paying for the heat up to 50 degrees, Gary?
Correct.
Okay, other than that, I believe it's fully secure. I don't think you guys are draining pipes or anything, it's just sitting as it is as 50 degrees, correct? So,
Mr. Kudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to add that, as a possible use of the clinic, in conjunction with the building of the new jail, it may work out for us to relocate Health and Human Services to the clinic building, which would vacate, space at this building to allow, for us to build the new jail completely within the constraints of this block. So I just want people to keep that in mind, before, you decide that, we should sell it. It may be something that we could actually utilize for our own purposes.
Mr. Phil Undershoots.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Tom's point though, right now, we have not voted on for sure building a new jail. And it sounds like there might be potential to rent it from Mr. Rance if we're to sell it that direction. But right now, there is nothing that's guaranteeing that we're gonna build a new jail. People are making the assumption, but we can hold on to this for 10 years, assuming that we keep going to the other spot. And now we just got a building that by then, nothing being done to it, it's gonna be a waste too. So I guess I understand, the practicality of it. It definitely would make sense, if you're building, to have something, but even if we're to do a jail, we don't know what the timeline of that would even look like, if that goes to referendum, when that would go to referendum and all that stuff. So we might be, a long ways out from building a jail. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Giselle.
No offense to our offer, but Rich, I guess this is kind of a question for you. As a municipality, we would have to put something on it. We can't just outright sell as a municipality.
You can.
You can?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I wasn't sure.
Mr. John Undershoots.
Excuse me. just gonna throw this out there, and there's no disrespect to Mr. Rance, but initially we were talking about the building and one parking lot. Now we're talking about the building and parking lot all the way to the river, so I think that might change your offer a little bit, just keep that in mind. So,
That was initially my offer.
not what I heard.
Mike Rain.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Couple of things. Number one, you know, we have 3 or 4, 5 scenarios right here. One from the pipeline, one from Mr. Rand, then all of a sudden, hey, it's the building, not the parking lot, not all the way to the river. You know, I think we need to get the criteria kind of specific. And we won't have a lot of time to do it either, because you know what? They're demoing every day out there in the chapels in that line of fire, so we've gotta make sure, you know, whatever we do, Rich, you know, however we set, where we send it back to the property committee or whatever, we gotta do it in timely fashion, even if we have to have another special meeting. So, you know what, let's get the criteria down first, then let's figure out, hey, is it $1 million, or is it 5 million, or whatever it is, if it goes all the way to the river, we need to know that we're not gonna get it tonight in this debate. We sat here till morning, and there's still gonna be 5 scenarios here, and we're not gonna come to a conclusion. So Rich, if you get it on paper, get it to where we know, give us a map, here's what it is, here's the dollars, and you know what, then we can vote on it. But right now, we can't, what are we gonna vote on?
Oh, no, and I didn't anticipate that. That email from Mr. Rance came through at 1 o'clock this afternoon or something like that.
So you know what I'm getting at, I think in the confusing thing, and like Phil said, hey, if Tom mentioned about going health and human services out there, well, you know what, this jail could be a long ways off. It really could be, and you know what, the forecast to leave that building empty for 5 to 6 years before you get health and human services out there, that's not gonna cut it either. So really, let's do it in a kind of a timely manner, hey, be specific on what we're gonna do, and then, hey, let's sit down, have a conversation and a vote.
Mr. Willingham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Mr. Raven and Mr. Undershift's bill. I think that it would be prudent for us to, just in a consensus sort of way, to say that we would encourage Mr. Rance to make a formal offer and prescribe what it is that he wishes to purchase, and encourage him to do that in a manner that we can move as quickly as possible and for his needs and for ours. And then, once we have something to actually consider, then we can move forward with that. So that would be my suggestion.
That's good.
I was wondering if we're going to entertain more motions for offers. And it's been, what, 1 week, not even?
So, we can continue this, but if you want, I mean, one is, you have a request for a short-term lease from Michaels. Again, she just got that on Thursday or Friday, got the deals this morning or yesterday. Makes no difference to me, but if that's something you want to entertain at this, no problem. If you don't wanna entertain it at all, we can just proceed. If you wanna refer it back to the property committee to see if they want to lease it out temporarily, again, with that, it would be a 30-day notice to terminate. So that, I think, is the only thing, if somebody wants to proceed on that, otherwise we can move on to next items on the agenda.
Mr. Schneider?
How many square feet is the clinic?
19,000 about.
Okay, I've just had people complain about this whole thing of rentals is a hot item, countywide. Rent a house in Ladysmith with maybe a 2-spot for 2 cars is half the price we wanna rent this whole complex to Michael's for. It doesn't make sense to me.
wants to do, rent it out, not rent it out, or send it back to property. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I would urge everyone here to seriously think about this. And the reason being is that, Mr. Rand has presented an offer to us. It seems like it changed midstream. We're talking about a piece of property that, I personally, I think is very, it's worth a lot of money, a lot more than $1 million. So what I would suggest then is that if, granted, we can certainly get it, some type of, an offer from Mr. Rand, but I would strongly urge that we also advertise this, if that's the intent of the board, to sell this entire thing, then I would strongly urge that we advertise, like say in Chicago or Minneapolis or someplace where there are people, where people would actually see the potential there and the actual value of that property, and possibly, we could see a lot more money come back to the county from the purchase of that.
Thank you. On the floor, Terry?
I'd like to make a motion to send this to the property committee and have some details worked out, that when it comes back to the board, we have information in more than one direction, and we can make an informed decision.
Second? Second by Mark Schmidt. Any more discussion? Mr. Hunter, you have a question?
Yes, I would like to know, what is the zoning structure of this property? Is it residential, is it commercial, what is it? Now, before we decide what to do with it, how is it zoned?
I believe it's commercial, but don't.
That's what we're gonna send back to the property board, to find out all the details. I guess, Terry, let's get this all laid out first before this.
I would shock it's not commercial, but again, don't quote me on that, I don't know if I'll be able to get that at my fingertips right now.
Clinic owns G2 commercial.
Okay.
I asked you because at one time we were supposed to be entertaining an offer for someone to build housing there. So that would require changes in the zoning, wouldn't it?
And generally speaking, if somebody buys this, a developer for whatever purpose, they're going to look at that, and they're going to make any offer contingent upon them being able to get it rezoned or conditional use or whatever process they may need to go through the zoning. That's gonna be in their due diligence part prior to them actually buying it.
Well, it would be nice to know, if somebody makes an offer, what their intentions are.
And you may or may not know that depending on the buyer.
Mr. Phil Undershoots?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a question. We're sending this back to property. There has been some discussion about the chapel. And being that I said on property, I want kind of some direction, from the board. Are we going to maybe have Oz wait and do the chapel last at least, while we're figuring out what kind of offer, we're looking at for the clinic building, being that there has been some interest on that? Is that the direction the board maybe wants us to direct Oz, is to, at least hold off till the end? Obviously, we don't wanna stop, progress, but maybe we could say, hey, if you could wait till the end of the deconstruction to hit that, because chances are there's potentially an offer, that has some interest in that chapel. I guess I'd be interested to see what the board's opinion on that is.
Gary?
I would say, on Phil's point, time is of the essence, because I think John Hoover just said that, he was taking the stained glass out, and, they're right next to him. So I bet you by tomorrow, when they get the stained glass out, they're gonna probably start tearing that down. So, all it's gonna take is a phone call to Jason and say, hey, can you hold off on the chapel? But
Maybe temporary, I guess, up to the board, I just wanna.
They were very accommodating, they got lots to do now.
Yep.
But that's June, you the chair, that's, you have a motion and a second for back to property.
Any more discussion on this? Send it back to the property? And if not, we can vote. Seventeen yes, 1 no, passes by majority. Number 5, approval of meal per diem rate.
In the packet, you have one document that kind of shows the meal per diem rates based on the code from the General Services Administration. And then what I'm proposing, we increase our rates to, along with the last 3 rate amounts that we've used. So we haven't increased meal per diem reimbursement rates for employees, it's, elected officials as well since 22. So I'm proposing we increase breakfast from $7.50 to $10, lunch from $10 to $13, and dinner from $15 to $20, which is, kind of, in between what our current rates are and what the General Services Administration rates are as well.
I have a motion by Phil Undershoots, second by Mr. Hauser. Is there any discussion? If not, we can vote. Seventeen yes, 1 no, passed by majority vote. Number 6, approval changes to financial procedure manual.
You have a motion to approve.
I need a motion to, what?
Right, motion to approve?
Yeah, I mean, unless anybody wants me to kind of highlight the changes or.
Jerry Miller motion. Second. Second by Mr. Hauser.
These passed through finance last week, most of it was just kind of updating to, where things are currently at, like the petty cash, that's really what the departments are authorized for, the, significant changes, or what I would consider to be significant, we have adding to the listing of invoices that are not required to be approved by finance prior to payment, would be invoices that are already approved by property or joint management, because that just kind of seemed redundant if committees are already signing off in their budgets, that it also has to go through the finance committee prior to payment. We added some time periods for meal reimbursements, just for clarification, so that it's clear to employees what is appropriate for meal reimbursements, to make it easier for processing payroll. We increased the mileage rate for use of personal vehicle from 25 cents per mile to 30 cents per mile. Under payroll, we added, the personnel committee would have the authority to approve wage increases as counter offers to retain employees, as long as those wage increases are within the current approved wage scale, so that sometimes timeliness is very important in trying to retain those employees. So if we have to wait until the county board, we may end up losing those employees. We added additional guidelines for getting quotes on purchases so that it's a little more clear for departments, and some clarification on bid requirements. There's other, wording updates, but, that's what I consider to kind of be the significant updates. You guys all have the redlined copies of the financial procedures manual as well.
Mr. Snyder?
Just a comment, when we get something 50+ pages or whatever this is, can we get the pages numbered? You know how hard it was for me to try and follow this and look it up, but just pages that make it a whole lot simpler. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer?
Can you pull up the page there regarding highway purchases? I believe it's set at 300,000 yet now.
Yes, that's chapter 9. The reason it's still at 300,000 is because the highway committee has not brought a resolution to change that. In order to update that, it needs to come via resolution.
Okay, Rich, I have a question for you. I was thinking about this since this got passed by finance. This was passed in highway to raise it to 500,000. It did not get to the board yet. Can I make an amendment to this now and change it in this financial procedures policy without having to do a resolution?
You can.
Then I would so make that amendment.
Okay, there you go.
Showing it what on mine.
Yep, okay, now it did.
Mr. Phil Anderson's got a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to comment that the way that is stated, it says that it's per resolution 9122A. Resolution 9122A says it's up to 300,000. So if you change that to 500,000 before that resolution is changed, you can't change it. It would be, it wouldn't follow what that resolution says. I don't think we can change it until the resolution is written. I get where you're going with that, but I think we would be violating the resolution by putting that in there until the resolution is changed.
No, because you're gonna have this resolution that's gonna have a number on it.
There is no resolution.
There's no
This is
resolution.
changing the
on it.
financial procedure. This is referring to a specific resolution that says 300,000 on it. When you say per this resolution and you put 500,000, it's not per that resolution because it says.
You should strike per the resolution.
It's different, yeah, it's different than what that resolution says. So I think we should just leave it at 300,000. You can come back with the resolution and change it at that time. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. But I feel like we'd be in violation of that resolution by changing it now.
In the financial procedures manual, it says that the finance committee has the authority to make minor changes to the financial procedures manual without coming to full county board. So if it's through a resolution, I would consider that a minor change to the financial procedures handbook because that resolution would supersede the financial procedures.
I'm not arguing the 500,000. I just think that if we do it here at the board per that resolution, it would be in violation of that resolution. So I just feel like.
I mean, you can strike that then, or just strike the sense of the highway committee. That solves your
And
problem.
that would override the current 9122A resolution.
Correct.
Then
What that resolution is written that says, that was passed by the full board, so that kind of limits you to
Yeah, but
300,000.
you're making a motion at this meeting to modify it.
That resolution, 9122, that's not on the
This is
agenda.
gonna modify that.
I just feel like it's not proper, but. I see what we're trying to do at the same time, I just feel like it's not the proper way to do that.
So I have a motion from Jim, second from Sherry, to modify this resolution.
To modify the financial procedures manual on paragraph, or, section 9, from 300,000 to 500,000. This is on the amendment to do that.
Strike stuff out.
Strike the full
Which will cause the
resolution.
striking of per resolution 9122, correct?
Any more
Should I-
questions about that?
Maybe reference per county board motion at this meeting because that's fine.
14 yes, 4 no, passes by majority.
No, on the amended financial procedures.
Amended financial procedures.
You already had a motion by Miller and a second by Howard.
Right.
So Mr. Williams.
Mr. Willingham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. If I understand correctly, changes would allow the personnel committee to grant wage increases without the approval of the board, is that correct?
Or counter offers to retain employees.
Doesn't make sense to me that the board has the authority to set wages and then we turn around and give the committee the authority to change those. I can't quite wrap myself around that. Obviously, this means that the personnel committee has the ability to determine which employees we wish to retain and which ones we don't. So speaking for the board in that regard, and I think that's a bridge too far as granting authority to a committee. So for that reason, I would vote no on the entire resolution, which probably won't matter.
You wanna amend that, Steve, or is that what you're kind of throwing out there?
Well, I could try. So I would offer an amendment that says to strike the portion of the financial procedures manual which grants authority to the personnel committee to increase wages. Now, I understand that they would be increasing them within the confines of the max and minimums and all, whatever on the grid, but I still think that we're giving them the authority to make a decision about who they want to retain and who they don't want to retain, and the board might not agree with that. So I would say we strike, my motion is to strike that.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Schneider. Any more discussion on it? Mr. Dussel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do understand what Mr. Willingham was saying here, but I think this is pursuant to just in the situation where a particular employee has another offer. And it's not an overall situation, it's if another offer where we're gonna lose a good employee without calling a special county board meeting. This would be authorizing the personnel committee some latitude there to retain that employee, not to randomly raise somebody's wage. Am I correct in that assumption, Jamie?
Yes, it was my understanding I'd have to be a bona fide offer. Vetted by.
A written offer.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Lois?
Was that in the resolution, or is it just hearsay?
It's in the financial procedures manual. So the way it reads is the personnel committee has the discretion to approve counter offers to retain employees within the approved wage scale without approval of the full county board.
Any more discussion?
So just to clarify, the amendment is to strike basically all the red from that section, is that correct?
The last 4 lines.
No, the sentence that I just read.
Sorry, with the personnel committee.
The personnel committee has the discretion to approve counter offers to retain employees within the approved wage scale without approval of the full county board. That's what you'd like to strike, is that correct, Dave?
Mr. Trudeau?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This kind of bothers me as well. Not that I would not feel comfortable with, you know, with you guys making a decision like that, but it's like, where is this gonna lead to, ultimately? How far are we gonna let this kind of thing go? I don't have a problem at all with you guys taking into consideration to try to retain an employee, and to offer them, you know, a wage comparable to what they've been offered by another employer. However, I still feel that it should go to the board. I don't think this should rest solely on personnel's shoulders to make that decision. I think that before, I just feel it needs to go to the board. That's why we're here.
Any more discussion? If not, vote now.
The vote again is to amend the policy to remove that highlighted portion. The personnel committee has the discretion to approve counter offers to retain employees within the approved wage scale without approval of the full county board.
You said it was to strike that, correct?
That's what the amendment is, correct.
Thank you.
11 yes, 7 no, passed by majority.
Okay, so now you have the amended plan. If there's any more discussion or edits. If not, then you can vote on the amended. Oh, sorry.
You can't vote now. Sixteen yes, 2 no, passed by majority vote. Okay, on to resolutions. Number 7, LCDD 2024 Healthy Lakes Grant.
All right, what you have here is, oh, sorry.
Just need a motion.
There you go, now you can.
Okay, what I have is basically a standard, resolution Wisconsin DNR requires when we apply for a Healthy Lakes grant. We've done this same resolution in the past for the 2024 grant that we're applying for.
Any other discussion, any questions for Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this for any lake in the county or?
Any, well, we try to limit it to any lake or, waterway, river that has public access, as a public boat landing. It makes sense to use public money to support lakes that have public access.
And by a healthy lake, then that would be, like, for example, like the curly leaf removal.
This is not, that's aquatic invasive species, there's a whole different grant process for that.
Okay.
This is shoreline protection grant projects, which are, native buffer plantings, shoreline buffer, rain gardens, rain barrels, generally smaller shoreline protection projects that protect lake shores, either lakes or rivers.
Any more questions? If not, we can vote now.
Thank you.
18 yes, pass, and majority vote. Number 8, resolution of appointing Rusk County Human Resources Manager. Need a motion? Motion by Jonathan, second by Mike. Okay.
Resolution appointing the Rusk County Human Resources Manager to the Rusk County Board of Supervisors. Whereas the Human Resources Manager position has been vacant since January 26, 2023, and whereas the position was properly posted and the applications were reviewed and interviews conducted, and whereas the ad hoc interviewing committee selected Ashley Goodes as the Human Resources Manager at a pay rate of $39.90 an hour with a start date of January 29th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Rusk County Board of Supervisors does appoint Ashley Goodes, the Human Resources Manager, effective January 29th, 2024, at a pay rate of $39.90 an hour.
Can you fill us in a little bit of background on Ashley?
I sure can, yes. Ashley has a business administration degree from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. She's got 13 years of experience working at Dove Healthcare in Chippewa Falls. In the beginning, she was the director of that building. In the last 3 years, she was the human resources, I have in front of me, the human resources, help me out here. Systems manager. Thank you, Ashley.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, we will move on. Seventeen yes, 1 no, that's by majority vote. Number 10, revision of the Rusk County. Amended funding sources for the LCDD administrative assistant position. Motion? Motion by Terry, Giselle. Second by Terry Whiteway.
I learned my lesson this time and waited. This resolution, the position that was created, at the time it was created, was limited to the land information grant, or other grants in the department. That position has become incredibly important in our department for all our divisions, not just land information. And so what we want to do is open up the other funding mechanisms so that we can pay for that position. The best example I have would be the way that it is right now. If we want to have her work on non-metallic mining program, we cannot fund her using the fees from the non-metallic mining program. And so what we wanted to do is amend that position so that we could use all of our available funding sources and make sure that we retain that position.
Any other questions?
Any questions?
Mr. Phil Undershoots?
So you're saying that right now it's 100% grant funded?
Yes.
But now you wanna go to 30% of it not being grant funded? So that
Either not grant or other funding sources, like the non-metallic mining, which is a fee-based program.
why don't we just wanna keep it all grant funded?
Because
How much of the work is a non-metallic mine stuff that?
probably 10% of that position could be non-metallic mine.
That's 30.
Zoning is has become a very significant part of that position. And I think that we need to make sure that funding fees are being used to pay for that.
We could use them fees for something else, so we
Could.
use 100% grant funding for this.
We could, but if we run out of grant funding for some unforeseen reason, then that position goes away.
But have we ran out of grant funding, or is there something coming up, or it's?
No, but it's always a possibility. I mean, grants are fluid, grants are competitive year to year, so it is always a possibility.
I think we're better off to wait and see if the grants or something happens.
We do have grant funding for this entire next year lined up right now for this position.
So we know.
But I want to ensure that we are able to retain that position.
But if
think
if that happens, if the grant goes away, this position might be changed anyway, so you might wanna relook at the whole thing, you might wanna wait till, if you find out you're not getting the grant, you might just wanna take that to personnel to reevaluate the whole
Yeah,
position.
and that was actually, I
find
think
something.
that was something that we discussed in.
I think I understand is what you're trying to do is get ahead of it, but
Right.
I think it's hard to make that decision without, that option before us.
Yes, you're right, I am trying to get ahead and planning ahead. By the same token, I think it's only fair that if that position is going to be working on some of these other programs, that we should be paying them out of those other programs.
Jonathan, on the
So a couple of things, I think that 30% came because you figured if it went away, we could get by with 20% levy. The other part of that position has changed a couple months ago, so we changed that position to do more.
Yeah, there were some other job duties that were added.
Yeah, you probably just went on that.
Yeah. We did expand that position to become, much more involved with the information education program in the department, specifically land conservation. And so we did expand their role here three months ago.
And then the last point I wanna make is, so, it's hard, we gotta make hard decisions and understand that supervisors, but at the same token, on the other side, if you're the employee, you don't know when your funding for your job's gonna go away, sometimes that's just the reality of the matter. But it probably helps us retain people if they know that we have a plan, like you said, forward looking, to keep them around if things go south, otherwise, somebody might come with us more often and say, hey, this job's more secure, so, I know that's not always the reality of the matter, we can do it, but we can do that. Like I said, it's not gonna affect the budget, this year, usually you guys know ahead of time, if there's a grant, so you can budget accordingly.
Right.
For that.
And in all honesty, if for some reason all the grants went away and we had to 100% fund this position, we have more things to worry about than one position, if all those grants go away.
Any other questions? If not, vote now. Fifteen yes, 3 no, passed by majority. Number 10, revision of the Rusk County zoning fee schedule. Fee schedule, sorry. Need a motion, Mr. President, motion, need a second? Second by Mr. Ludwig, go, man.
Should I just stay here? This is every, well, in 2020, we looked at our fee schedules, did a pretty in-depth analysis, and at the time decided that every biennial, or 2 years, we should look at our fee schedules and adjust them accordingly. We did that, over the course of the last few months. What you have is the revisions, hopefully they were printed in color, you can see they're in red. Nothing too terribly significant. Some of the fees were revised to be more in line with regional averages of surrounding counties. Accessory buildings, we adjusted the square footage and the rates for those permits. In the past, there were only the 2 categories, so a 20 square foot accessory building was paying the same fee as a 1,200 square foot accessory building. So we adjusted those fees to be a little more equitable based on the size of the building. RV, first time RVs, we upped that fee to 150, but kept the renewal, as long as it's by the due date, kept the renewal the same as it had been. The riprap under permits for shoreline properties, we always just categorize that under grading and filling. We just wanted to break it out so it was its own category. It's a permit application that's used quite a bit. We just wanted to make it its own category so people could understand what that was for. Gazebos, that was adjusted to be more in line with regional averages. And fire numbers, address applications, we upped it from 25 to 50, just to help cover the cost, for us to go out and collect the point information for the 911 system. We did, there, just one other note, there's, under the sanitary permit fees, there are a couple of things there that we're going to just strike out of the fee schedule. They're not used, they haven't been used in years, there's no reason to have those categories on the fee schedule.
Any questions? If not, vote no. Oh, sorry, 18 yes.
Thank you.
By majority vote.
And that's the last you'll see of me. Promise? I promise.
12, designating ARPA, sorry, amending public record notice fee schedule. Motion. Motion by Mr. Hauser, second by Mr. Meyer. Actually, you're up.
Okay. So the county clerk's office acts as legal custodian, for all records of the county board, its committees, commissions, boards, and other authorities created by ordinance or resolution of the board. The clerk's office handles all public records requests. By state statute, we are allowed to charge our actual and direct costs, so we are asking that we change the current $2 per removable media to the actual cost per removable media. So that would be CDs, DVDs, flash drives. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this cost is gonna vary depending on the request.
Correct, so an 8 gig flash drive costs very different than a 64 gig flash drive.
Any other questions? If not, vote no. Eighteen yes, passed by majority vote. Number 12, designating ARPA funds to use for internal Rusk County projects. Number 6. Jamie? Or no motion, sorry. Motion by Mr. Willingham, second by Mr. Phil Undershoes.
Okay, so this went through both property and finance committees. What it's doing is reallocating $7,149.34 that was originally designated with ARPA funds for trails and boardwalk and trail development to be utilized for the log pavilion project that went over budget by that amount. So it's not allocating any more, it's just moving it between projects for trails and.
Any questions? No questions, we can vote now. Okay. 18 yes, passed by majority vote.
You're gonna read that.
Motion and a second for closed session.
First, you gotta read that first.
Resolution for hospital, stipend for facilities management. Employee compensation pursuant to the tax pass 19.85 for considering employment promotion compensation and performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibilities. I have a motion by Mr. Schultz, second by Mr. Kuro. Yes, one no, pass by majority to closed session.
There'll be no action taken on the outcome of the closed session. We'll move on to the next one.
Number 14, proceed with litigation against previous ambulance billing company. County board may go into closed session to discuss the above.
Yep, we do closed session.
Pittsburgh billing contract pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.8551 section G, conferring with legal counsel for the government body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigations in which it is or is likely to become involved. A motion by Mr. Schultz. Lois? Eugene, yes.
Everybody have a good night.
So there'll be no action taken on the closed session that we just went in. Now we can go on to the appointments.
So number 15, appointment, Veteran Service Commissions. We have a motion by Mike Raven and a second by Phil Schultz. To appoint Mr. Ron Raven.
Bill Schneider.
I'm sorry, Phil.
I've been called worse.
The boy's been pretty active over there in the corner. Okay. Any more discussion on appointing Mr. Ron Moser? If not, we can vote now. Yes, passed by majority vote. Okay, any announcements?
I am emailing you guys all the 2024 county board timesheets right now, and I will get paper copies printed and put to the clerk's office tomorrow. The 2024 IRS mileage rate is going to be 67 cents per mile, and I updated the timesheet for the meal per diem rates that were approved tonight.
What was the mileage rate, please?
67 cents.
Thank you.
Yep.
I would like to say thank you to Mr. Raymond Tater for filling the chair at this point. I would also like to say thank you to all the colleagues out here, not beating me up too bad.
Wait.
Well, again, I appreciate the chance and the time, the learning process here, so be patient, we'll get it. But I'd also like to really thank Mr. Tater for seriously saying that to take care of things. Anything else, anybody?
I'd like to wish Jamie a happy birthday.
Okay.
And there's cake if you want a slice. We'll also have the leftovers in the finance office tomorrow.
Is that it? If not, I entertain a motion for adjourn. Motion by. We're adjourned.